Alright, we're going to continue with what we left off in the first one, and we're going to actually split some footage here. So we're just going to call this one split footage, and we'll put this on the desktop so I can actually get rid of everything, and we'll hit OK. And then once we have this, if you don't have it updated, you need to in order to see what I'm actually talking about. But we're going to choose this digital SLR option. And this basically is what we're going to be shooting in a lot with our D60 cameras. So it just makes it nice, it matches up. And we're going to choose 1080p at 29.97 frames per second, and we're going to hit OK. Now, just as always, we obviously need footage that we're going to import. And I'm going to navigate to that here real quick, and we'll just choose barbs here, both of these. And what we have is we have two different shots, the same interview basically, just shot with two different cameras at two different angles. And this shot here was the camera that had the microphone, so this is the audio that we are going to be using, and this is the shot that we're going to cut away. And it really isn't difficult to do this. It just is a little bit tedious if you want it to look really, really good in order to get it right. And there's a couple little things that we can do to make it look a little bit better. So with that said, we're going to come back to here, double click on this one to make sure that we have the footage that we need. And I basically need to find my endpoint first. Okay, so I found my endpoint, so I know from watching this clip that she does this pretty much all the way through. So basically I need to find out where my endpoint is going to be.
Everything that I ever need is in my artwork.
Alright, so now I have my in and I have my out. I can go ahead and drag this down. I'll go ahead and stretch this out a little bit so I can make it a little bit bigger. Now this audio I don't want to touch, so I don't need to unlink these at all. Okay, so now comes the tricky part. We have our main camera shot. Now we need to find out where we are going to jump to this camera angle. So basically what I like to try and do is I like to try to watch my actual footage that I have down on my timeline to see where a good stopping point for a facial expression or a body movement is. So I'll go ahead and hit play.
Ever since I was a little kid, I've always been passionate about art.
Right now, to see how she said passionate about art and then her mouth kind of opened back up. That's a good little place to start. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. Might turn my volume up a little bit. Wow, this one here kind of...
Ever since I was a little kid, I've always been passionate about art.
Now, I stopped it a little bit before. See how her mouth is a little bit more open here? I can drag this jog slider here and get it just about right. Alright, so now I need to find an endpoint here. So we're going to set that as my endpoint. Now I need to find an out.
I may not be the next Picasso, but that's not it at all.
There's my out point there, not it at all. And it's a nice pause in how she's saying it. And we'll go ahead and try that. So we'll make this our in and out. And being that I stopped this at this point, I know that I can just drag this down and snap it to there. Now, if I would have let this play, I would have two audios going on. We know that this one here, we don't want to mess with, so we're not going to unlink it. This one here, however, notice how they both are highlighted. If I right click and I choose unlink, now it gets to the point where, see how that is highlighted and this one is now highlighted. I can now delete this audio and I still only have the one audio from my main camera. So let's go ahead and rewind this and let's watch over here and see if it cuts away good.
Ever since I was a little kid, I've always been passionate about art. I may not be the next Picasso, but that's not it at all. It's about expressing
Okay, so that timed in pretty good. I'm going to hit play.
myself and doing what I love. Art is such a beautiful.
Okay, where she says art, we might want to do that in this case.
It's about expressing myself and doing what I love. Art.
Okay, I'm going to set my endpoint.
Art is such a beautiful thing, and whenever I have a paintbrush or a pencil in my hand, it takes me into my own world.
And we're going to go set that right where she says Y. There's will be our out point. And again, this is stuck on where I stopped it over here the first time. So all I have to do is drag this down. Select it. Unlink it again. Select my audio clip now. Delete it. And then let's see if it in fact worked.
Ever since I was a little kid, I've always been passionate about art. I may not be the next Picasso, but that's not it at all. It's about expressing myself and doing what I love. Art is such a beautiful thing, and whenever I have a paintbrush or a pencil in my hand, it takes me into my own little world. Why would I do drugs and think?
Okay, now as you can see, that was a little bit off.
What I love. Art is such a beautiful thing.
Alright, so my guess is I need to actually trim this up a little bit. Let's make that my endpoint. We'll go ahead and delete this. We'll drag this back down. We'll unlink it. Delete that. Let's go ahead and see if this lines up a little bit better.
And doing what I love. Art is such a beautiful thing, and whenever I have a paintbrush.
Oh! Totally messed that one up. Let's just delete this one altogether.
But that's not it at all.
Let's find a better stopping point.
And doing what I love.
Alright, so there. Her lips are closed. I think we're going to try that one. So let's come back over to here.
Art is such a beautiful thing, and whenever I have a paintbrush or a pencil in my hand, it takes me. It's about expressing myself and doing what I love. Art is such a beautiful.
There's my endpoint. Let's try that. Unlink this. Get rid of the audio, and hopefully this one will work well.
It's about expressing myself and doing what I love. Art is such a beautiful thing, and whenever I have a paintbrush or a pencil in my hand, it takes me into my own little world.
As you notice, they
Why
are
would I
lined
do
up
drugs
now.
And things that could possibly affect
And
my future.
that's how you basically take two camera angles and you split them into one. You know, you have your one audio source, you can get rid of your other camera audio source, and then it's just a matter of taking the time to line it up to where it looks right and getting it correct. You know, it's not really that difficult, it's just tedious and how good you want to be, and hopefully you will strive to be that good. So there you have it. And then if you were satisfied, you could always go to File, Export, and export your media, and you would have your movie. All right, till next time.